Welcome back to the deep dive. We're looking at episode 408 of AI Brief, and I have to say, looking at the stack of research we have today, the theme is, well, it's undeniable. It is a week of conflict. We're seeing this clash of business philosophies, a clash of engineering architectures, and
A
honestly,
clash of egos.
yeah,
It really is. It feels like lines are being drawn in the sand this week.
yeah,
We aren't just seeing new features. We are seeing companies define entirely different visions for the future.
exactly. We're going to be unpacking the so-called ad wars between Anthropic and OpenAI, which has officially moved from, boardrooms to the literal Super Bowl. We're also digging into a massive update in coding agents that really forces developers to choose between massive memory and high speed.
And we've got to look at Kling 3.0, which might have just solved the single biggest problem in AI video generation.
Plus, we have a breakdown of a system called PaperBanana.
It sounds ridiculous, I know.
It does, but it's actually a masterclass in how multi-agent systems could change, well, everything about how research is published.
And we'll wrap up with the rapid-fire news, which involves some numbers that are just, frankly, hard to comprehend.
So let's start with that headline everyone is talking about,
Yeah.
the ad wars. Anthropic has decided to take a swing at OpenAI, and they are not doing it quietly. They've bought Super Bowl airtime.
Which is not cheap. But the strategy here is what's so fascinating to me. Usually, when a tech company buys a Super Bowl ad, they're shouting about what their product can do. Look, our AI can sing, or look, it can paint a picture.
Right.
Anthropic is doing the complete opposite. They are marketing a lack of a feature, specifically the lack of ads.
It's such a bold move. The campaign creates this parody scenario. It shows how annoying it is when you're trying to get deep work done. You're in the flow. And
That interrupts you.
exactly. They're positioning the ad not just as a nuisance, but as an enemy of intelligence. And then they hit you with the tagline, ads are coming to AI, but not to Claude.
It is so aggressive. And they backed it up with a formal pledge. They stated that advertising is, and I'm quoting here, incompatible with an AI that acts in the user's best interest. This is the very specific signal. They are positioning themselves as the Apple of AI premium, privacy-focused, paid.
You pay with your money, not your attention.
And that implies that the Android or Google of this scenario is OpenAI.
And OpenAI knows it, which is why the reaction was so visceral.
Oh, immediately. Kate Rauch, their CMO, fired back on social media. Her argument is the classic defense of the ad-supported internet model.
Which is democracy. Let's unpack that, because democratic is a heavy word to throw around for a tech product. How is an ad democratic?
Well, the logic is that if you rely solely on, say, $20 monthly subscriptions, you are effectively gating the most powerful technology in history behind a paywall. So only the wealthy or the corporate class get the good AI.
Okay.
By introducing an ad-supported tier, you subsidize the cost. You make the tool free for a student in Mumbai or a startup founder in Lagos who just can't afford that subscription.
I see the argument, access is important, but Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, he took it a step further. He called Anthropic's campaign clearly dishonest.
He did, and he accused them of serving an expensive product to rich people. But here's the nuance that we really need to get into. Altman said OpenAI would never run intrusive ads.
What does intrusive even mean in a chat interface? I mean, if I'm asking ChatGPT for medical advice or help with some code, any ad feels intrusive. It's not like a banner on a news site that I can just ignore. I'm talking to the thing.
That is the billion-dollar question. If I ask for a pasta recipe and it suggests a specific brand of sauce, is that an ad? Or is it helpful? It's native advertising.
It's subtle.
Very. But if I'm asking for help debugging Python code and a banner for a VPN pops up, that's intrusive. The fear, and what Anthropic is betting on, is that because these models are so expensive to run, the ads might eventually have to drive the answers to be profitable.
So Anthropic is saying, pay us and you are the customer.
And OpenAI is saying, use us for free, and you might eventually be the product, but at least you have access. That's the fundamental split.
Right. And while they're fighting over marketing, they also just so happen to drop massive engineering updates at the exact same time. It feels coordinated.
Oh, it's standard tech warfare. You want to own the entire news cycle. And both companies released major upgrades to their coding agents. And if you look at the specs, they're diverging technically just as much as they are, well, politically.
Let's get into the specs then. We have Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.6 and OpenAI's GPT-5.3 Codex. On the surface, they both write code better, but under the hood, they seem to be optimizing for completely different things.
They are. Let's start with Anthropic. The headline feature for Opus 4.6 is the context window. It's currently in beta with 1 million tokens.
We hear tokens a lot. For the listener who isn't a machine learning engineer, what does a million tokens actually look like in practice?
Think of tokens as, like, pieces of words. A million tokens is roughly 750,000 words. That's about equal to the entire Harry Potter book series combined, or a massive shelf of technical manuals.
So I can feed the model 7 books worth of information at once?
Exactly. And for coding, this is critical. A modern software app isn't just one file, it's thousands of files all linked together. Before this, if you wanted an AI to fix a bug in a huge system, you had to chop the code up into these tiny pieces. The AI never saw the whole picture.
But with a million tokens, you can just dump the entire code base into the prompt.
Right, so it can see how a change in file A affects a function way over in file Z, even if they're thousands of lines apart. It understands the state of the whole system.
So that makes it incredibly powerful for legacy code, for maintaining old, complex systems that no one really understands anymore.
The guy who wrote it left 5 years ago, yeah.
So Anthropic is going for depth, memory, and stability. What's OpenAI doing with the new codex?
They're going for speed and breadth. They claim GPT-5.3 Codex is 25% faster, but the real shift is that they're calling it a full-spectrum worker.
Full spectrum. That sounds like military jargon.
It kind of is. It basically means it doesn't just generate text on a screen. It's designed to use tools. It can open a terminal, run the code it just wrote, see the error message, rewrite the code, update the documentation, and then file a pull request.
Okay, so Anthropic is like the wise architect who has read every blueprint in the building and sits in a quiet room thinking.
Yes.
And OpenAI is the hyper-caffeinated intern running around fixing things, testing things, and writing reports all at once.
That is a perfect analogy. And as a developer, you just choose your tool based on the job. Am I architecting something new, or am I just grinding through bug fixes?
It's good to have options, even if the rivalry is getting pretty heated. Now, I want to pivot a bit to the visual side of AI. We've been talking text and code, but video generation is having a huge moment. We have a new release from the Chinese startup Kling. This is Kling 3.0.
This is a really big release. Kling has been a bit of a sleeper hit in the AI video space, often outperforming big US names like Sora or Runway on specific benchmarks. And 3.0 is this multimodal beast. It does text, image, and audio all in one model. But the killer feature, the one everyone is talking about, is the anchor.
Anchor. So this is meant to address the morphing problem.
Yes, exactly. Anyone who's played with AI video knows this pain. You generate a character in shot 1. In shot 2, the camera moves, and suddenly your character is wearing a different shirt, or their nose changes shape.
It breaks the illusion immediately. It feels like a fever dream where nothing stays consistent.
Exactly. The anchor feature lets you upload a reference image and essentially lock those visual traits in the model's latent space.
Let's break that down. Lock in the latent space. What does that mean?
So think of the model's brain as this giant 3D map of concepts. Man in a red hat is a specific coordinate on that map. Usually when you ask for a new shot, the AI wanders a little bit to a different coordinate, so the red hat becomes a maroon beanie. The anchor forces the AI to stay at that exact coordinate for the features you care about, while it changes things like the camera angle or the lighting around it.
So if I'm making a commercial, I can make sure my actor looks the same in the close-up as they do in the wide shot.
Which is the basic requirement for any professional work. Without consistency, AI video is a toy for making memes. With consistency, it's a production studio.
And they've also added a multi-shot mode.
Yeah, that auto-generates different camera angles from a single prompt. It's like the software is starting to understand cinematic language. It's not just generating pixels, it's editing, it's acting like a cinematographer.
Incredible. Okay, shifting gears entirely, I want to talk about PaperBanana.
I just love the name. It's so disarming.
It sounds ridiculous, like a child's drawing app. But the tech behind it, coming out of Peking University and Google Cloud AI, is a really clever use of a multi-agent system.
Right. So the problem they're solving is actually very difficult. Creating those complex diagrams you see in scientific research papers. Flowcharts, system architecture, things like that.
Which usually takes hours, and I've been there.
Yeah.
You spend more time aligning boxes than doing the actual research.
Exactly. Now, you might think, why not just ask ChatGPT to draw the diagram?
Right. Why not?
Because a single model, no matter how smart, gets overwhelmed. It has to understand the data, plan the layout, choose the colors, maintain the aspect ratio, and write the labels all at once. It usually messes something up.
So how does PaperBanana solve that?
By not using one brain, It uses a swarm of 5 specialized agents that work together.
A swarm. Walk us through that. How does it work?
Okay, think of a design agency. First, you have a retrieval agent. That's the researcher who reads the paper and pulls out the key data. It hands that data to a planning agent. This agent doesn't draw anything. It just sketches the layout, the skeleton.
So it separates the what from the how.
Exactly. Then the styling agent comes in. It knows nothing of the data, but it knows about color theory and fonts. It makes it look professional. Then a rendering agent actually generates the final image.
And the fifth one, the critique agent.
Yes, the critique agent, this is the harsh art director. It looks at the final output and compares it to the original data. It says, hey, you missed a label here, or this arrow is pointing the wrong way. Then it sends it back to the planner to fix.
It's a feedback loop. It self-corrects before a human even sees it.
And the results are wild. In testing, PaperBanana beat human baselines in conciseness by 37% and readability by 13%. But the kicker is aesthetics. When people compared the AI diagrams to human-drawn ones, they actually preferred the PaperBanana ones 56% of the time.
That's significant. But the bigger takeaway here isn't just about diagrams, is it? It's this agent chaining architecture.
100%. This is the blueprint for how complex work gets done. You don't build one super AI to do everything. You build a team of specialized AI agents that pass tasks to one another and critique each other's work. It's digital Taylorism.
Let's zoom out. I want to hit the rapid fire news because the numbers flying around this week are staggering.
They are. And I think we need to slow down for this part and really look at the scale of investment happening right now.
Okay, let's start with 11 Labs. They just raised a $500 million round.
Which triples their valuation to $11 billion in just 1 year. This just validates that voice AI isn't a niche. It's becoming the default interface. The bet is that we will talk to our computers more than we type.
And on the hardware side, the chipmaker Cerebras raised a massive Series H.
$1 billion raised, valuing them at $23 billion. This is directly tied to their partnership with OpenAI. The market is betting that NVIDIA won't be the only winner in the chip wars.
But the biggest number, the one that makes the others look like pocket change, came from Google. Sundar Pichai dropped a figure regarding their future investment plans.
$185 billion.
It's hard to wrap your head around that. $185 billion.
That is more than the GDP of entire countries like Kuwait or Hungary. Google plans to spend that by 2026. This is mostly on infrastructure data centers, energy, custom chips. They see this as a total industrial revolution.
And speaking of their reach, they also noted that the Gemini app has now passed 750 million monthly active users.
Which is huge. It shows that despite any early stumbles, Google's distribution power is just unmatched. If they put it on Android, people will use it. And that's a massive data set to learn from.
A few product updates before we close. Amazon is rolling out Alexa Plus across the U.S.
Finally. This is the smart Alexa powered by LLM, so it can actually hold a conversation. The real story, though, is the pricing. It's free for Prime members, but $19.99 a month for non-members.
That feels like a way to force people into Prime more than a standalone product. $20 is a steep ask for a voice assistant if you don't get the free shipping.
It's a classic bundle play. They want to lock you into the ecosystem.
And Mistral, the French AI lab, is releasing Voxtral Transcribe too.
This is a big one for our developer listeners. It's a speech-to-text family covering 13 languages. But because it's Mistral, they released an open-weights version of the real-time model.
And why is open weight so important here?
Privacy and control. If you're building a medical or legal app, you might not want to send your users' voice data to OpenAI's API. With Mistral, you can run this yourself on your own servers. That privacy angle gets more valuable by the day.
And lastly, Perplexity. They've launched an advanced version of deep research.
This is available now for Mac subscribers. They claim it hits state-of-the-art on benchmarks. I mean, Perplexity is trying to be the knowledge engine that replaces the Google search bar, so this is their bread and butter.
Okay, let's bring it all home for the listener. We've talked about a lot of tools. If they want to get their hands dirty this week, what are the top picks?
Well, if you're a creative or in marketing, you have to go play with Kling 3.0. Specifically, test that anchor feature. See if you can actually keep a character consistent across 3 different scenes. If you can, that changes everything.
And for the developers?
It's a bit of a coin toss, depending on your current headache. If you are drowning in a messy old code base, get into the Claude Opus 4.6 beta and just dump the whole thing into that 1 million token context window. See if it can explain the system back to you.
But if you want speed?
If you're building agents or need to automate a workflow, download the OpenAI Codex app. See what that full spectrum speed feels like, let it try to handle a full debugging loop, and just see if it breaks.
And for the academics, or just anyone who hates making slides.
Keep an eye on PaperBanana, or at least read the paper to understand how they structured those agents. The concept of agent swarms is something you need to understand even if you don't use the tool.
We covered a lot today, from the billions being spent on ships to the ad wars fighting for our attention.
It's a good reminder that we are still in the very early innings here. We're figuring out how this technology actually fits into the economy. We have the tech, but we don't really have the rules yet.
Here's a thought to leave you with. We talked about PaperBanana using agents to critique each other to get a better result. And we talked about Anthropic charging a premium for an honest AI that doesn't sell you out.
Right.
So as these agents get better at doing our work for us, and even better at buying things for us, who exactly are the ads for? If my AI agent is booking my travel based purely on my preferences, does a billboard or a banner ad even matter anymore?
That's the disruption that no one in advertising is ready for. If an algorithm makes the purchase decision, persuasion starts to become irrelevant.
Something to chew on. That is it for this deep dive. Make sure you're following us on your platform of choice so you don't miss the next one.
And if you have a friend who thinks AI is just about chatbots, maybe share this with them. It helps the show a ton.
See you in the next episode.